PXG has done it again with the launch of a new lineup of drivers, fairways, hybrids, and irons. The new Gen 5 golf clubs deliver significantly increased MOI, faster ball speeds, longer distances, and tighter dispersions, all coupled with the exceptional feel and sound golfers have come to expect from PXG. Schedule your custom fitting or buy online at pxg.com.
And we're back, Stripe Show Podcast. I'm your host, Travis Fulton. Thank you for making us part of your day. It's only fitting, as you've heard me say many times. Today's podcast is brought to you by this bad boy right behind me, aboutGOLF simulators, which I am stoked today because we got a special one. Indoor golf is something that I have been investing in, very much a part of my day-to-day business. You see me hitting shots all the time in the simulator. You see it in the backdrop all of the time in the podcast. And we're fortunate enough today to have the CEO of this company, aboutGOLF Simulators, joining me from the great city of Seattle, Ken Kamada. How you doing, bud?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is going to be fun because, you know, you and I talk, and I was just out there, of course, a couple weeks ago, sitting right there with you, talking about golf, professional golf, all the crazy things that are happening, but just golf in general, the market of golf. We see people coming back to the sport. We see the game really thriving right now, and I can sense it here in Florida, which is very much the mecca of golf 12 months out of the year. And a big aspect of that, Ken, of course, is now the emergence and the popularity of indoor golf, which you guys have been out on the forefront of this for a long time. So I want to kick off this conversation, and I want to get your thoughts, and I have an idea where you're going to go with this, but I want you to share it with my audience in how you kind of view kind of the state of indoor golf right now. And I think just kind of its overall importance in value into the future as you see it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. First of all, thanks for having me.
You bet.
Love to talk shop about golf and golf-related subjects. But with respect to the indoor game, first off, I think the state of golf has never been brighter and healthier in its entire history.
Mm-hmm.
There's no doubt. I think golf is more relevant than it's ever been before. You're starting to see the crossover appeal of golf, not just to the masses, but professional athletes, hip hop artists, they're all about golf right now. So it's been great for the game in general. But I think, we kind of talked about it, in the past. I think golf is going through this transformational renaissance period right now, where on one hand, you're seeing the popularity and demand of golf really thriving, but because you're starting to see more and more courses outdoors close down because of financial reasons, weather reasons, all these things
Mm-hmm.
that where do you take this demand? And you're starting to see more indoor golf centers being open to cater to that demand. So you're seeing this kind of shift of people moving from the outdoor game to the indoor game, not just because of this kind of demographic situation, but indoor golf is more accessible, it's quicker, it's faster, and at the core of it, you still get that same great feeling when you hit a golf shot.
Yeah, right. It feels solid. It flies the exact distance with the curve that it would outside, and it hits the green, and it checks just like it would to 6 feet. So it has all the elements. Now you're not outside breathing the air, and you're not sensing the wind and the grass. I get that, but it has all those things. And the one thing that I've always kind of stressed for the last few years, and really a couple years on the podcast, is look, golf means different things to different people now. When I was young, getting into the game and in getting started, to me, the perception of golf was 18 holes, right? Like that was, I can hit some balls, but then it's 18 holes. And that's kind of was my picture of golf, right? And I grew up in a very small town. It was a 9-hole golf course, and you would play the 9 twice, but that's kind of what golf was. And then, of course, as I got into the business and moved around, and then, you kind of sense the country clubs and then the munis, but it was this 4.5, 5 hour endeavor, right? And it can still be that, but now golf can mean different things to different people. And it's been a great learning curve for me having the simulator and watching people come in and interact with the simulator in so many different ways. And of course, the centerpiece of the simulator is the technology, right? And how aboutGOLF uses its technology. And I want you to share with the audience here as we move this along is the what is the technology all about for aboutGOLF, and how you're measuring the golf ball, and then maybe how that's a little bit different than some of the other sim companies that are out there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we use radar machine vision technology. So it's camera-based technology that sits overhead in the golf simulator. And we were the pioneers of golf simulators over 25 years ago. And we started with radar technology, which is the same technology you see TrackMan, Flight Scope, and a number of launch monitors that are placed on the floor. Now, the great thing about radar outdoors is that just like police officers use radar guns to see if you're speeding, it calculates the velocity of objects. So outdoors is amazing, right? The launch monitor can see 180-degree view of a golf ball flying, and then recaptures and renders that golf ball flight. The problem indoors, as you can imagine, we have a simulator back here too, is that there's only 12 feet between where the ball sits and the screen. So radar technology can only capture that 12 feet and whatever 3 or 4 feet high the ball goes off the ground. And from there, it's figuring out and using algorithms to determine the golf ball flight. And as you know, as a golf instructor, one of the key components of figuring out what the ball does is at the point of impact, what the club face is doing, whether it's open or closed. And if you have a launch monitor that cannot see that club face, it just sees the ball and the club itself, how do you know what the club is doing at impact? And that's where our early engineers realized there were limitations to radar technology indoors, and determined that the best way to determine what the golf ball was doing was to actually take photographs of what was happening at impact, because your path and your face angle can determine whether the ball is going right or left, whether it's spinning left or spinning right, and determining that with a combination of the club face and what the ball is doing on all three axes. We realized that camera-based technology would render the most accurate golf ball flight. And about 15 years ago, we developed that technology, and it's the same technology we still use today.
And it sits up. So if you look behind here, like behind our logos, it sits up high there. Yep.
It sits about 12 feet up, and there's 3 cameras. One captures impact, one captures what the club is doing, and the other captures the exit of the ball from the golf ball, or sorry, from the golf club.
Right. And what's cool about it is, and of course, it's very accurate. And I get people in here for lessons, and good players to beginners, and I'll ask them, like, how far do you hit your 9-iron? Oh, I carried about 147 yards. Okay, so we hit, okay, and they're at 146, 147. I mean, it's right there, right? So it's awesome to kind of show them the accuracy, and the distance and all that. So it's fun from that aspect and the instruction standpoint. And of course, I've got my cameras also built in, so I can get the face on and the target. We've got the force plate in the ground, and so we're getting all of the stuff from those cameras as far as what the ball's doing, but then also the cameras where I can look at it from a swing and get the idea of the bounce of the ground and all of those things. So it's a very cool experience from that standpoint. But the other thing I got to mention is that the way it's measured up top there, and one of the real efficiencies of aboutGOLF is the closer you get to the hole and you're playing golf, how accurate it is on these little finesse shots, even from putting all the way into 2, 3, 4 feet. There's a lot of simulators that won't even let you putt it from like inside 7, 8 feet.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely right. I think for some of our competitors, and they have great products, you have to set those launch monitors at a distance where it can actually capture what we talked about, that entire peripheral vision of the golf ball, right? So if you're hitting a 60-degree wedge and you're flopping it, imagine if you're flopping it right there and it disappears from that peripheral vision within just like a foot, right? Because it's going straight up. How do you measure that shot if you just see just a tiny fraction of that ball flight, right? And this is where camera-based technology is superior indoors, where it sees that entire golf ball. It sees the spin, And from there, you can determine what the golf ball is actually doing over that entire course of the golf ball flight.
And I can tell you, when I've seen it firsthand and in putting, right? And I get people in here and we're playing, whether it's a, it's a group or a corporation where we've got 15, 20 people in here and we've got the golf course up or whatever, and there's games in here as well, which we're going to get to here in a second. But I tell them, like, look, kids, this is 12-foot putt. And I show them how far it is to the screen. I said, this is how far, you got to hit it 12 feet. And if you hit it 15 feet, it'll be 3 feet past. And it's amazing how accurate that is. Now, I bring my son in here and he's only 7. And one of the hard things when you're teaching a kid is touch, right? That takes a while. And my kid's got really good touch when he goes on the golf course. And I'm telling you, and look, I don't overcoach him. I mean, I just, I'll give him a little bit here and there. And one of the reasons is because he will come in here and play. Okay. And he will putt. I mean, he plays the golf course. And I'm telling you, you could just see the touch improving based on how far and then how that translates to the golf course. It's been really fascinating to watch that. And just with my son and my own eyes. And of course, we do junior series camps in here as well. And I can see it with a number of kids now, not just full swing and learning technique and all that, but just like little short shots on the course.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Low, medium, high, 5 feet, 10 feet, that kind of thing.
Yeah, we pride ourselves on just having that entire full experience of golf tee to green. And this, you're hitting as many putts as you are hitting full swing shots on a golf course. And you may have a putting green set up indoors, but you're kind of limited to just a few different shots. In some cases, you don't have the undulation of greens. So just having that, what you said, feel and touch, where I think a lot of great putters have that feel and touch. They know how to read greens, but having that kind of touch that, Cam Smith has, or Tiger when it was in his prime, that's part of the game of golf, right?
Yeah.
And developing that early and developing those senses, I think, is part of that entire total experience that we bring indoors.
Absolutely. And I think one of the best, there's so much value to all of this here, and it's the centerpiece of my studio. But I think that the most rewarding to me in this last 6 months has been the emergence of the junior camps and series in here that we've got going, and just how fired up kids get when they get in this thing. I mean, I'm telling you, like it's been amazing. And we sold it out like that. And like, we're doing it again in October, and it's just it's becoming a huge part of the business here. Now, of course, one of the aspects that they love are the games, and the games are really, really cool. Talk about just talk about the games, and how that's evolved for About Golf, and maybe kind of where that's going.
Yeah. You kind of touched on earlier about how golf is kind of redefining itself.
Yeah.
And just kind of like you, my knowledge of golf, or what golf meant to me growing up, was playing with my dad, spending 5 hours on a Saturday or Sunday, and 14 clubs in my bag. Right. And golf doesn't really have to be that way. And when you take a sport like that, digitize it, bring it indoors, you kind of open up a bunch of different possibilities. So like you said, golf can be just taking a pitching wedge and playing darts, and just practicing, just making contact with the ball if you've never played golf before. And a lot of our games are meant to not only be fun, but teach the fundamentals of how you make great contact. Because to play darts really well, you got to hit accurate chip shots, right? Whether it's from 25 yards or 75 yards. So combining all the fun aspects of playing games with developing great fundamentals in golf, it obviously appeals to kids and even adults, because it's less intimidating to do things like that versus practicing on the range amongst people that are probably really, really good golfers, and you're shanking shots all over the place and you're kind of intimidated by the atmosphere. Playing inside, the feedback I get, it's more, it's just more inviting. It's just, it just feels more comfortable. It doesn't feel intimidating. And you start to develop the fundamentals with golf being fun, not being difficult. And I think that's one of the more important things that will allow the sport to continue to sustain its growth, is that it's meant to be fun. It's not meant to be, a rattling, nerve-wracking game, right?
Glenfiddich, the world's most awarded single malt Scotch whiskey, is expertly crafted and made with extraordinary care. Each single malt is a work of perfection.
Yeah. No, I think it's well said. And it kind of fits what we've done here in the studio is, I've been fortunate enough to be affiliated and worked with and for the PGA Tour and Golf Channel and high-end companies that are in golf in a big, elite high level way, right? I mean, they're doing things with the best of the best. And it's fun. You learn from that. But then at the same time, in running those academies and doing those things, there's a certain intimidation that goes to people who don't view them like, I don't want any part of that, right? Or a new golfer, like, I'm not going to that tournament. I'm not doing that because it's intimidating. There is an intimidating aspect to golf. And when we put this together, I had a team that I was like, look, I want this place, when someone walks in here, I don't care if it's Russell Knox or if it's a brand new golfer, man, woman, a 6-year-old, a 70-year-old. I want them to feel like, oh, wow, this is cool. I belong here. This is fun. And there's no intimidation at all. Now, with that said, we can teach the top level player, but we can also bring the new player in and there's no intimidation at all. And of course, the simulator is a centerpiece of that. And I'll tell you a quick story. We had an event of 15 people in here, and 13 of them have played golf, know golf, watch golf, right? And so we were doing things, and of course they're gravitating to the front. And this is fun. Music's playing. We got a couple games on and on the TVs, and they're hitting balls, and they're all in. And I'm looking off to the side, and I see the two that, I could tell were, kind of like, I'm back. This isn't for me. And I was like, stop, new game. So I put up beer pong. And I said, all right, guys, come up here. I'm going to show you. So I gave him like a little 25-yard shot, beer pong, right? And when you hit the ball into the sim, what happens is here comes this ping pong. It flies into the sim, and there's your cups. And so these two played beer pong back and forth from 25 yards. And I'm not kidding you. I had to kick them out of here. I had to kick them out of here at night. They're in. They just loved it. It was so much fun for them, and they still talk about it. And they've been back here, and we've done so. It's just like golf means different things to different people in these games, not just for kids. Now, I'm telling you, for adults, the intimidation aspect of it is a big thing, and that's what this simulator does. Just knocks it down. There is no intimidation. There is no intimidation. There's something here for everybody to play. So I absolutely love the games, and there's so many of them. And I just got a new game that one of your guys sent me that I need to spend a little time with and get some feedback. So I look forward to jumping into that. I want to talk about the competition platform next, because I have hit a couple shots in a couple competitions that you guys do across your network, that people have the simulators. And the most recent one was the Ryder Cup series. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I do want to touch on kind of what you just talked about just a minute ago about just kind of the unique games and just how it connects different people. We have an internal and external brand message, which is golf your way. So whether it means, playing 18 holes with 14 clubs, or playing beer pong with a hooded 7-iron or pitching wedge, we have something for everyone. And that's going to bring the sport and make it more inclusive to everyone. And it's our product mission to make that a reality for everyone across the globe. So I'm glad you mentioned that, because that's what we're really, really focused on.
Awesome.
With respect to the competition platform, it's no secret that at the core of the game too, especially when you go outdoors, that golf is a sport where people like to compete, play games, maybe throw a little money into the pot and compete. And we started working with the folks at the PGA of America and the European Tour a few years ago to sponsor the Ryder Cup, where we would create monthly competitions for all our players across our platform, so that they can compete with another, see where they stack on the leaderboards, and potentially win prizes, and in this year win a trip to Rome, and see the Ryder Cup in person. So the competition is ongoing right now. It started about a month ago. It involves basically a par 3 every month, and it's closest to the pin, and it's pretty simple. The winner is going to be the one who has the shortest distance in aggregate of all the par 3 closest to the pin holes.
Yep. And I did it. I participated. And I think I'm in third right now. It's tough little shots. So About Golf has a ton of great golf courses, and they picked Bethpage Black, par 3. And I think I missed the green. I think I missed the green 4 times and hit the green once, and I think I'm in third place. So, and the competition series, you guys did that last year in the finals up at Whistling Straits, which I was a part of. That was fun to watch. Some of those guys that were there competing in the end there, and then if now with this competition series in the Ryder Cup next year being overseas, that's pretty cool stuff, man. That's good. That's a big competition. That's a big prize.
Yeah. All you have to do is find a local golf center and download our app and get logged in, and take a shot. Pretty simple.
Yeah,
it doesn't cost you anything. It just basically to see what you're made of, and hopefully the winner will surprise us.
Yeah,
where that person emerges from. Yeah,
absolutely. The other thing, you guys are putting out a lot more golf courses too. You already have a nice library of courses, but now there's others coming out, and one that just was downloaded to my system is a course here, and I have a lot of locals that listen to the podcast. It's called the Yards, and the Yards is a 12-hole facility, which is inside the TPC gates. And About Golf just they rendered the whole thing. It is now in the sim. It's pretty cool. And I have the owner coming here this afternoon to see it, which is going to be awesome. And I'm sure it'll be a trip for him to see his golf course and his vision, which is kind of fits your narrative a little bit. Golf your way. I mean, it's a 12-hole course. It's got another little beer loop par 3s. It's an entirely different experience. And to see you guys embrace that and put it as part of your platform, I thought was really cool.
Yeah, I think we want to see a variety of different content. When I talk about content, courses, games, brought to our audience, just because it's important to kind of expand the notion of what golf is, right? Mm-hmm. And you're seeing that originally with kind of what's happening in the retail apparel industry, where a hoodie on a golf course is kind of the norm. You're seeing sneakers, people wearing Air Jordans to play golf, right? Mm-hmm. And you're seeing kind of the structure and the framework of what golf is supposed to be really being kind of chipped away and broken in pieces. And people are kind of making golf their own. And it's kind of really important that we bring new and exciting different types of content, like the Yards, where it's so different.
Yeah.
And it's just unusual that it's 12 holes, but then you finish off with 3 par 3s. I think it's a cool format. And I think for you mentioned earlier, just having kids explore what golf can be for them, it's really important that we not only showcase the Pebble Beaches and St. Andrews of the world, and championship courses like Bethpage Black and Whistling Straits, but courses like the Yards, where it'll connect with someone, not just the Sunday fanatic golfer,
right, or a private course that they probably won't ever get to play, like a Sahali, which is a fabulous place. That's part of it. So it's a neat library of courses, games, and of course, I know you guys got a lot of other cool stuff that's coming down the chute. All right, let's finish with this. I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Yeah.
All right, next 5 years, About Golf Sims. You guys are doing great. You're out in front. What would you say success is going to look like for you guys in the next 5 years? Could you share a couple bullet points there?
Yeah, I mean, the dream would be to continue to grow the game, whether it's outdoors or indoors. I don't think we're trying to compete with the outdoor game. We're trying to just grow the sport and bring access to all, and that's really important for us. And the more indoor golf centers that are open up, the more homes where this becomes kind of the norm, the more golfers we'll see. So I think that's really, really important. But I have this kind of recurring dream that one day, somewhere in the middle of the country or even somewhere outside of the country, we're going to discover that kind of Chris Moneymaker from online poker about 20 years ago, where poker was traditionally a game played by the same professionals. It was won by the same professionals year after year. And you remember the movie Rounders with Ed Norton and Matt Damon? The same people were at the final table of the World Series of Poker every year. And then in, I think, 2003 or 2004, some random guy that was playing on Poker Stars, Chris Moneymaker, won the entire tournament. And he played online exclusively and went head to head with the best of the best. And I think discovering people like that, our Chris Moneymakers in the game of golf, would be amazing. To see someone that comes out of our platform, qualifies for the PGA Tour, and becomes the next Justin Thomas or the next Victor Hovland. That will kind of cement the relevancy of indoor golf, the importance of indoor golf to the outdoor game, and maybe bridge that connection between the indoor and outdoor game and look at golf in its totality, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's well said. And with that said, like your guys' consumer, I mean, you guys are doing a little bit of everything. I mean, I catch wind of where these installs are going, and you've mentioned golf centers. I know you do business with people who are putting like 2, 3, 4, 5 in at a time, but you guys are doing stuff with the PGA of America. You mentioned down in Frisco, your unit is down there. I know you just put one in Congressional. At Washington, D.C. You have your team there as part of that kickoff. And then you also have a lot of, you said celebrities, but individual installations where it's going into a spare bedroom or a loft, or, you guys get pretty creative with the how you guys can install your simulators, whether it's in a house, a center, a golf course, you name it. You guys have done it, really, haven't you?
Yeah, we kind of cover every type of space on the planet where we can be found. In airports, there's, I think, a 7-8 golf simulator set up in the Minneapolis airport. We're obviously found in a variety of different homes, different shapes and sizes. CEOs to professional athletes use our product indoors. On the professional athlete side, it's demoralizing to see professional athletes that play their sport really well and can get in a simulator and they look like they have professional golf. Pretty jealous of how incredibly gifted those players are. But yeah, that's the amazing thing about indoor golf, is that if you have the space and the dimensions, you can play golf.
Yeah,
and you can play golf 24/7, and you don't get that outdoors, right?
Yeah,
to build a golf course, a lot of things have to come into play. One, you can't set up a golf course really in an area where you're going to have bad weather all the time. If you do, you're going to be closed probably half the year, right?
Yeah.
So what do those people do, the 5-6 months out of the year? And so there's certainly a bunch of advantages that indoor golf has to the outdoor game. But at the end of the day, it's golf. And I think, like I said, what we're trying to do is bring accessibility, bring convenience, and bring fun to the game, and allow it to play, or people to play golf, the way they want to play golf. And it could be, putting your hat on backwards in flip flops and board shorts and still striping 280-yard drives.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And that's golf.
That's right. But folks, if your face is open and you tend to slice on the golf, I mean, it's gonna slice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But it's not gonna sting as much, because you're not gonna lose your ball, and you can go pick up your ball in 10 seconds and tee off again. So it's a lot of fun, and I'm glad to be a part of it. I'm glad that our customers really enjoy using our product, and we're going to continue to innovate and push the envelope on what indoor golf can do for everyone.
Yeah, well, you guys are doing a great job, and I'm very appreciative to be a part of the team, and look forward to the future. And this is, a studio and a showcase room for About Golf Sims down here in Florida, in the greater Jacksonville area. Some people who wanted to see the sim, try the sim, they've already been through here to see it. So look forward to keeping the doors open here for those listening that are out there that want to put your eyes on an About Golf simulator. Ken, thank you for your time, and Have a great weekend. And do me a favor, if you could head downtown and just kind of knock on the door at the Mariners and tell them to wake up the bats just a little bit, like maybe hit the ball to the infield a couple times. That'd be nice to get this thing to the playoffs.
For sure. Thanks for having me, and thanks for being a great ambassador. And go Mariners, go Hawks.
All right, buddy. Thanks. Ken Kamada, CEO of About Golf Simulators.
Haymaker Coffee Company was established in 2021 to create the best coffee to fuel the underdogs who perseveres, who hustles, and have the give-it-all mentality to achieve their American dream. Haymaker Coffee only roast top quality, specialty grade coffee beans, resulting in brews that satisfies those who demand every drop from their coffee and day. If you work hard, run hard, fight hard, and play hard, we have your coffee right here.